People on Earth were artificially created to perform slave labor. Do you think this is a joke? There is a real theory that our creators came from the 12th planet of the solar system, Nibiru. What is this planet, and what are the potential threats of contact between its inhabitants and humanity? Make yourself comfortable. Today we will learn more about the origin of humans. The mysteries of the Sumerians. 6,000 years ago, in the Mesopotamia of the Tigris and Euphrates, there existed an advanced civilization of the Sumerians. They are credited with the discovery of many things that influenced the development of humanity: writing, the calendar, mathematics, complex metallurgy technologies. The Sumerians not only were ahead of their time, they set the direction of development for all ancient civilizations. But where did such knowledge come from for people who had only recently emerged from caves? This is just the beginning of historical inconsistencies. If you take a close look at the Sumerian clay tablets, you can notice something unusual. Among the planets of the solar system familiar to us, the Sumerians depicted one extra. The ancient people believed that at the intersection of the celestial equator, there exists a planet that influences the movement of other celestial bodies. This planet is Nibiru, which translates from Sumerian as point of intersection, center. According to tablets from the ancient cities of Mesopotamia, Uar and Nineveh, the mysterious planet was inhabited by an alien civilization of the Anunnaki. Who were these strange beings? In literal translation, the word Anunnaki means those who came down from the heavens. The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki were the children of the gods Anu and Ki, who came to humans from the depths of space to help the human race and guide its development. Does this myth remind you of anything? Could it be that we are dealing with the first documented contact between humans and aliens from another planet? Nibiru? Attack on the museum. Before we answer this question, let's go back for a moment to the 21st century. Iraq, 2003. American troops are methodically destroying the army of dictator Saddam Hussein. Chaos reigns in the streets of Iraqi cities. Looters are stealing everything they can get their hands on. One of the looting sites becomes the museum in the city of Mosul. Before the military pogroms, it housed an invaluable collection of Sumerian clay tablets. Thanks to these cultural monuments, we have learned much about ancient civilization, as well as about the Anunnaki of Nibiru. Fortunately, after the attack, the museum's collection was saved. Almost all of it. The tablets that recorded the Sumerians' contacts with the Anunnaki were mysteriously destroyed. Suspicious, isn't it? Could it have been a planned attack to destroy invaluable evidence of human contact with extraterrestrial civilizations? Perhaps they contained something that could overturn modern understandings of history? Someone walked through the museum halls, deliberately smashing only those tablets, while the others, which talked about trade, laws, and kings, were left untouched. Coincidence? Or were the looters given orders from above? Archaeologists are still debating what was in those texts that led to their erasure from history. Some researchers claim that those tablets depicted designs of Anunnaki ships. Others assert that the ancient manuscripts encoded the date of Nibiru's next arrival to our planet. One thing is certain: someone was very eager to hide the information on the tablets from the public eye. The disappearance of the texts. Why was the museum located specifically in the city of Mosul? The location of the city is not accidental at all. It stands on the ruins of Nineveh, the ancient capital of the Sumerians, where thousands of tablets were found. For many centuries, Nineveh was the capital of culture, science, and trade in Mesopotamia, until it fell to the Babylonians in 612 BC. In the 1850s, British archaeologist Henry Layard unearthed a library of King Ashurbanipal on the ruins of the ancient city. Among the clay antiquities they were found texts about Nibiru and the Anunnaki. Some survived, but some disappeared back in the 19th century. They were taken to Europe, where the tablets ended up in private collections. And in 2003, the story of the disappearance of ancient texts repeated itself. Someone, over more than 2 centuries, has been trying to hide what archaeologists found at the site of the ancient capital. Do we really have no more evidence of existence? Nibiru? Planet X. In fact, that's not the case. Sumerian clay tablets are far from the only source of information that contains details about Nibiru and the Anunnaki civilization. In 1846, astronomer Johann Galle noticed that Uranus was moving incorrectly along its orbit. Something is pulling it towards itself, bending its path. This something could only be a supermassive planet, whose mass far exceeds that of Earth. This led to the discovery of Neptune. Years passed. New observations of Neptune's orbit showed that something was also pulling the planet towards itself. It definitely couldn't be Pluto due to its too modest size. Scientists were at an impasse until in 2006. Scientists Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown suggested that there might be an undiscovered planet in our solar system. Planet X. The researchers worked for years, studying telescope data, and concluded that the hypothesis has evidence. Something massive beyond Neptune is tugging at the orbits like puppet strings. The Sumerians wrote about such a planet that influences other celestial bodies in tablets that are now lost. Batygin and Brown spent a lot of time using the Subaru telescope in Hawaii, calculating the trajectories of orbits in the Kuiper Belt. And every time, the numbers indicated that a supermassive planet exists. The appearance of Nibiru. The hypothetical mass of this mysterious planet is 23 times greater than the mass of Earth. Its radius is 4 times larger than our home planet. Nibiru's orbit is a giant ellipse. Batygin and Brown couldn't see Nibiru, but the evidence in the Kuiper Belt tells us it's there. Amazingly, this discovery mysteriously aligns with the Sumerians' notions of Nibiru. Why can't we see it? It's too far away, 20 times farther from the Sun than Neptune. Its own light is too dim for telescopes to detect the planet. But its gravity, like an invisible fist, squeezes objects in the Kuiper Belt. Scientists have found 6 objects in it that move synchronously, even though they shouldn't. Coincidence? Unlikely. Threats from Nibiru. According to ancient legends, Nibiru returns every 3,600 years. This confirms the data that its orbit is an incredibly long ellipse. Moreover, each return of Nibiru does not pass without a trace for humans. It brings chaos and destruction. It's logical. If you imagine the mass and gravitational force of this giant, you can only guess what horrors it might bring along with it. Could it be that Nibiru is also responsible for the great catastrophes of the past? Think about it. A planet 10 times heavier than Earth flies by. It's like a space rocket zooming an inch away from your house. Now imagine that on a planetary scale. Oceans overflow, mountains crumble, the sky darkens with volcanic ash. The Sumerians knew about this firsthand. The dates align and leave no room for doubt. About 2,900 years before our era, the Great Flood occurred. In the ancient city of Shurpak, archaeologists found clear evidence. 10 feet of silt beneath the ancient ruins. Excavations in Iraq showed that the silt in Shurpak is not just dirt. This is sediment from a tsunami that came out of nowhere and left, leaving behind a desert. Other cultures, like the Babylonians and Egyptians, also speak of a flood around the same time. Coincidence? Or traces of the same visitor? It seems the Sumerians knew the truth. It was the influence of gravity. Nibiru. The influence of Nibiru in the past. It seems Nibiru left its mark not only in Shurpak. Let's look even further back in history. 12,000 years ago, Earth experienced a sudden melting of glaciers. Sea levels rose by 400 feet, flooding entire civilizations. Scientists blame a comet, but what if it was Planet X? Its gravity could have melted the ice like a hairdryer melts a snow pile. Millions of years ago, dinosaurs disappeared after an asteroid impact in Mexico. The crater's diameter is 90 miles. But where did this rock come from? Nibiru's orbit could very well have attracted the asteroid, just like a magnet attracts iron. And that's not all. In Antarctica, scientists found evidence of a sudden cooling 34 million years ago. Did the planet change the climate? Or maybe it was an external influence after all? The Sumerians knew that each appearance of Nibiru brings cataclysms. But why did it give us a chance during the Great Flood? And not destroy us like the dinosaurs? Who are the Anunnaki? The answer lies with the Anunnaki themselves. Let's talk more about them. As we mentioned before, the Sumerians called them the children of the gods Anu and Ki, beings who descended from the heavens. But who are they really? According to beliefs, the Anunnaki appeared 5 billion years ago when Earth was still a molten sphere. They witnessed the formation of continents, the cooling of lava, and the birth of life. Since those times, the Anunnaki decided that this planet would become their field for experiments. Alien ships, fiery chariots, left trails in the sky, which the Sumerians depicted on tablets. But what did the Anunnaki forget on our planet? The answer is simple: gold. Not out of a thirst for wealth, but to save the atmosphere of Nibiru. They mined gold here, on our planet, to build mechanisms to save Nibiru. But the work was hard, and this is where the most incredible part begins. Imagine, the Anunnaki take their own flesh, mix it with earthly clay, and create humans. Us. This is recorded in the Enuma Elish, a Babylonian text from the 12th century BC. We became their hands, digging, mining gold, building cities, serving. But the Anunnaki gave us more than just a shovel. Intelligence, laws, star maps, all of these are their gifts to humanity. Look at the pyramids of Giza, 400 to 800 feet high, aligned with constellations with inch-perfect precision. Or the ziggurats of Uar, reaching towards the sky. These are their reminders to us of their power. And the Sumerian king list, one of them ruled for 36,000 years. Humans don't live that long, but gods easily do. In truth, in our case, not gods, but a highly advanced alien race. The appearance of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki only partially resembled humans. Archaeologists have found figurines depicting them. Tall figures with wings, wearing helmets, with tools that humans of that time did not have. These figurines are portraits of those who walked among our distant ancestors. There's something else. The skull of Queen Puabi, found in Uar. Elongated, strange, non-human. Could it be that she was one of the inhabitants of another planet? Or their descendant? The Sumerians believed that the Anunnaki were not just visitors. They are our creators. But if they are so powerful, why did they leave? The answer lies deep in the ages, in that very flood that occurred 2,900 years before our era. The tablets tell that the gods quarreled. Enki, one of the Anunnaki, saved humanity. He instructed King Ziusudra to build a ship to survive the cataclysm. But Enki also had a brother, Enlil, who despised humans. Too noisy, too many, he said about humans, according to beliefs. Enlil wanted to wipe us off the face of the earth as unnecessary, so he allowed Nibiru to pass by the earth unhindered. The Bible calls these events the great flood created by God. But the ancestors knew it was Nibiru. The exodus of the Anunnaki. After the catastrophe, the Anunnaki disappeared. They flew away on fiery chariots. That's what the texts say. But not all of them. Some stayed. They mingled with humans. Then the Nephilim from the Bible, giants born from the daughters of men. In 1927, archaeologist Leonard Woolley found graves with gold and skulls in the city of Uar. Not entirely human. These were those Anunnaki who didn't manage to leave. Nibiru is returning. Now let's turn our attention back to the planet. Nibiru. The Sumerians saw it between Mars and Jupiter, the 12th in their system. But modern scientists are looking for it beyond Neptune. Badijan and Brown say it's there, in the Kuiper Belt, where objects align as if being pulled. An invisible hand. This is not just a coincidence. The Sumerians knew about Nibiru thousands of years ago, and we are only now catching up to them. Zecharia Sitchin, an American researcher, believed it would return in the year 2900. But what if it is already returning? Sitchin dedicated his life to deciphering Sumerian texts. He claimed that Nibiru is not a myth, but a reality, and its orbital cycle is the key to unraveling human history. He predicted the next return in thousands of years. But what if a series of volcanic eruptions in the 19th and 20th centuries is a sign that Nibiru is returning? Telescopes are detecting anomalies that cannot be explained otherwise. In 2021, astronomers noticed that objects in the Kuiper Belt started moving faster than they should. Sitchin died in 2010, but his books plainly tell us that we need to prepare for an inevitable meeting with the creators. A catastrophe is coming. Every appearance of Nibiru is a disaster. Massive floods, volcanic eruptions, and pole shifts are just some examples of the destructive influence of the supermassive planet. What happened to the dinosaurs could very well happen to us. After all, if Nibiru really pulled an asteroid to Earth last time, it can do it again. Imagine a planet 10 times heavier than ours. Its shadow can cover the entire Earth. And what about other planets? The Curiosity rover on Mars found water in the Gale crater, traces of ancient rivers. Sitchin wrote that Mars was a base for the Anunnaki. Could Nibiru have left its marks there before moving towards us? In 2018, scientists found salty lakes under the ice on Mars. Could these be their reservoirs? Jupiter and Saturn also feel the approach of Nibiru. Their rings are experiencing external influences, and the moons are gradually being knocked off their orbits. In 1983, the IRA satellite caught a signal, a red dot beyond Neptune. At that time, everyone decided it was just an error. But what if it isn't? If Nibiru returns, its power will destroy everything we know and love. Gravity will flip the poles like a child overturning a toy house. Oceans will rise many feet, roaring, washing away cities. Volcanoes will erupt, filling the sky with ash. Mike expected the end in 2012, numerologist David Mitten. 2017. They were wrong about the dates, but not about the essence. Are people doomed? Scientists are now sounding the alarm. All those mysteries that have emerged in recent years, water on Mars, Engel crater, the perfect alignment of pyramids in different parts of the world, strange orbits of objects. In the Kuiper Belt, they suggest that something is wrong. Sitchin wrote, it's all the influence. The 12th planet. And the pyramids and the Nazca lines are not just cultural monuments, they are beacons of the Anunnaki. They call Nibiru and its masters back, serving as certain indicators. The Nazca lines are 1,000 miles of patterns in the Peruvian desert. They are only visible from the sky. Who drew them? And for whom? The Giza pyramids stand exactly on the 30th parallel. This is not a coincidence, but a carefully planned pattern for those who intend to view it from distant space, to find their way back to their former slaves. The Sumerians built ziggurats with flat tops. Landing platforms? We can only speculate about the true state of affairs with the current ancient relics. And here is the main question, what will happen to us? Collision? If Nibiru passes too close, Earth won't withstand it. Its mass will tear the Earth's crust like paper. A mile-high tsunami, earthquakes that will erase continents. Or is it not the end, but the return of the Anunnaki? They created us as slaves, but we have grown. We built a world without them. Are they angry? Their technology could give us everything or take away what we already have. The Sumerians warned us, but can we understand the wise advice of the ancients? What if the Anunnaki are already very close? In 1947, a strange object fell in Roswell. Officially, it was a probe, but witnesses saw bodies, tall ones, with large heads. Coincidence? Or their reconnaissance? The Anunnaki could have returned quietly to observe how we have developed and what we have achieved during their absence. Conclusion. What do you think about the 12th planet? Do you believe in Nibiru? Are you ready to meet its inhabitants? Write your opinion in the comments. Give a like if you want more like this. Mysteries of the Universe. Subscribe before the Anunnaki return.